Hello, welcome to Point of View. I am a disgusted Arsenal fan, along with Elliot. How you doing today?
Not bad. How are you?
Well, um, let's see. Not so great. We currently sit in 14th, 13 points, the worst start to our season ever. We cannot defend when we haven't got the brawl properly. Any team that's organized, even the Aston Villas of the world, are going to get a result against us. We'll be lucky to finish well, I wouldn't say lucky. We'll probably finish our highest position will probably be 10th this year. Obviously, we're not getting relegated.
Mhm.
Um, we can only roll over these teams that are total crap, like from Iceland or Ireland or wherever the hell we're playing them in the Europa League. And
Yeah.
even then, it's a struggle to score goals. Aubameyang's non-existent. Arteta's clueless. We might as well have Sam Allardyce out there just playing backwards. David Luiz, why is he still taking free kicks? I have no idea. Let's see who else. Alexander Lacazette. What in the world does it take for him to get a start? Let's see. We bring him on 10 minutes when we're down 2-1 to Wolves. Oh, that's okay. It sounds like a great idea. Let's see. Oh yeah, but the number one man to blame, Stan Kroenke. I'm calling him out. I'm done with it. And I'm a very special breed of person. Not only has he absolutely effed over my football club, he's effed over the place where I was born too. I'm a special breed of stupid. That man has done nothing but screw me since 2015. Literally, I despise him with every fiber in my being for what he did to St. Louis. And I'm not even a Rams fan. All the jobs he cost my city and what he's done to a proud football club in Arsenal. Take it away.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's just a bad situation because I feel like I look like a clown on this one too. Because remember, I said you would finish ahead of Chelsea. I had you finishing third. There's a lot of positive stuff with Arteta. I thought he had the special stuff. Now I'm not so sure. And I don't know, like it's not like you don't have the players. I mean, you may not have the enough of the players to realistically challenge a league or finish in the top two or something like that. But you have enough quality players not to be in the top into the European places. And what has happened is, I mean, the easy cop out is just blaming Carlton because he's, like you said, he's the
He's
big problem
poison.
here.
All he is poison. He fired like one of the longest serving employees in Gunnar Soros. Meza Urza, who's not even playing. We'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
Is paying his salary so the guy can stay on. You know, I mean, the dude is just literal poison. Has no respect for anybody.
Does
Probably
he
doesn't even need.
does
Probably
he
doesn't
even go
even
to
know the
games?
score of the game. He doesn't even go to the games. And
Yeah.
this is the worst part. He's obviously all where this is little financial until the Rams Stadium is paid off. I know that. I mean, I hope it's paid off sooner rather than later so he can leave, please. He has a great basketball team, doesn't care about it. Has a great hockey team that he owns, doesn't care about him. Never at any of those games. Had a proud football club, never at any of that. And all he does is put his money into the most fickle sport. No, I'm going to say it right now. The worst sports city on the face of the earth in Los Angeles, bar none. The world's worst sports city on the face of the earth. That is all he cares about. And no offense, you're putting Los Angeles over London? Over London. Are you kidding me? What? Over London? Please tell me how that makes any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. And if you were to look, I've been not a fan of that city for a long time. I think it's the worst city in America. I'm genuinely maybe Texas.
Oh,
I don't
no,
know.
it's the worst city in America.
It's
Bar
probably the
none.
worst city in America.
No,
Yeah,
listen, and for all of our European listeners, LA is a great tourist attraction, but nobody in America that outside of California likes it.
yeah.
And that's a true statement.
And they are the it's I have multiple issues with LA, but they have the most fickle fan bases on the face of the earth. You know what I mean? LeBron comes to LA, and then all of a sudden, all these people become Laker fans. Kawhi goes to the Clippers. Everyone that loves Kawhi becomes Clipper fans. I mean, it's the whole. It's just a total disaster, and I just don't like the breed of I guess individuals that come out of there because it feels like some of the people from that area feel like they don't have to work as hard because they have kind of things given to them. I don't want to get into that too much, but again, I mean, if we London, yeah, London's better. Rome's better. You can name 50 cities that are better than Los Angeles. It's literally the dump of the U.S.
Yep. So speaking of the guy, you cannot possibly tell me that Willian out there been a total bust so far. I'm sorry. He had a great assist. You cannot. What Arteta? You have no excuse. Why is Özil not even in the squad?
Yeah. I have
And
no idea.
I don't care. I don't care that he may have his lazy moments. Me and you have talked about this. I mean, I respect Özil even more now because like he still loves Arsenal. He obviously wants to be there.
Right.
Me and you have discussed this. That little stretch from 2014 to 2017, he was easily on the brink of breaking into the top 5 of players. Easily a top 10 player in the world.
Yeah,
You know?
no question about it.
And you can't start him 3 years after that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the same player he was during those years, but still, he's better than what you got now. Willian had that great game against I don't even remember who it was. Fulham, was it? Where he had a couple assists.
Yeah, but that's Fulham. Fulham, they only have, I think, 7 points this year.
Yeah. So that tells me you need, and it's so interesting because William was one of these free chances that I most people thought that was going to be a steal. And I remember Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV was saying that he's better than Ziyech at this point. And I mean, it's utterly ridiculous because he's balling over in Chelsea. But it just seemed like one of these under the radar steals that cost nothing. And that steal actually has been Pedro, because on one hand, what he's done this season is amazing, and then William hasn't shown up, and then you guys like Ozil not even playing games. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, and thank you for bringing up Robbie because they're part of the problem too. And I don't care what anybody says. They are 100% part of the problem. They feed off the negativity. They want Arsenal to lose no matter what they say. It fills Robbie's pockets. Most of the guys on that show are clueless about football. You just have people sitting around running their mouth. They don't give fans a voice. The whole club's a poison right now. I mean, now obviously we'll never get relegated. I mean, have you ever seen a club this massive? I mean, this is more of a poison than AC Milan was.
Yeah, because AC Milan wasn't. What AC Milan happened, they were just they were underperforming to what we expected from them. It wasn't like they were a poisonous club like it seems Arsenal is. And you can argue Inter had a down stretch also, but you never describe that fan, or not the fan base maybe, but that club as a poisonous club. And I think it's a completely different way. They just, both of those clubs, those massive clubs were drastically underperforming the expectations of what those fans expect from their team. But this Arsenal thing is it goes deeper than just the club isn't performing well, because just for so many different reasons. It's just I don't know. It's a zoo at this point.
Arsenal America, another thing, absolute poison. You have all these people out here that are clueless about football that haven't watched. And yeah, there are some really good American Arsenal fans I like. I'm one of them. So you may call me a hypocrite. But, you have like this new breed of Premier League followers. Oh, yeah, no matter what happens, it's okay. I'm going to buy the kit, spend thousands of dollars on this team every year, not get invested, go around, wear my little shirt, go to the bar on Saturday morning, drink a couple beers, poison.
No, I relate to that.
Poison.
And it's not. I'm just generally speaking on that note. I went to AC Milan Chelsea a couple years ago when the Viking Stadium opened up, and it was absolutely despicable what I was seeing. So the announcer or whatever was saying the lineups, and the people in the fans were only cheering for Eden Hazard and Courtois and like brand name people. And I'm willing to bet that most of them did not know any of the other players, and I think that's the problem. They just do it because it's the cool thing to do.
I'm not joking about this. So what would you do to fix Arsenal? If you were the director right now, what would you do?
Resign. I don't know, man. It's one of those things. How do you fix a problem that's this large? It's like trying to empty the Titanic with a bucket of water. It's just like, it just seems to. I mean, if I have the money, I would spend better. I don't know what I would do with Arteta. I high hope for him, and he's just letting me down over and over again. Maybe you look at a different direction, but again, you're in a point right now where you can't attract a manager of like an Allegri's or a Poch or somebody like that who has, I guess, that level of quality or has the resume or whatever you want to say. I would start with just trying to spend better money and try to change the internal problems with the board and just maybe even clean sweep with everybody, just rebuild this entire thing from the ground up, which was going to take several years. But it seems like what they're doing right now is just, I don't understand. I mean, they win the FA Cup every couple of years, and then it kind of gives people false sense of hope that there's actually going to be a team that can challenge, and then it just sort of collapses.
Yep. And the problem is that we know like Inter fan stuff that would kill to have like our streak where you're at least winning some trophies. But I mean, It's not good enough anymore. It's just not. I don't understand how you go from Highbury being 15 minutes away from winning the European Cup to moving to this big fancy stadium and doing fuck all in Europe.
Yeah. Inter fans obviously haven't won the trophies, but Inter fans are they at least they're in second place right now. Last year they finished second. The year before that they were top four. The year before that was top four. So and in Champions League they've let themselves down, but there are many situations as Inter fans where they can enjoy. I know Danielle seems to always complain about what's not going right with Inter, but they're actually, just generally speaking, over the last couple of years, they've been in a better situation than Arsenal for at least part of it. They don't have the trophies, the FA Cups, and things like that, but there are certainly things about where Inter are that are significantly in a improved situation to where Arsenal seems to be right now.
It's gotten bad when I don't even give two shits about the derby this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I fully expect Tottenham to come in and roll us over 5-6-0. I'd be shocked if we had, honestly, I'd be shocked if we had more than 40% possession of the ball in this game.
You think so?
I'm expecting, I'm going to go ahead and say 5-0 Tottenham, honestly. They're going to come in and absolutely roll us over, pants us. It's going to be a disaster. I mean, it'll be absolutely embarrassing. And honestly, I'll just sit there and not care.
Yeah, they're not even close to that level.
By the way, they're going to win the league. For any Arsenal fan that's like saying, "Oh, blah blah blah," Mourinho's, no, they're going to win the league, and they're going to hold it over our heads for so long.
You think they're going to win the league?
With how this year's going, wouldn't surprise me.
No, I still think Liverpool will win it, but they have a decent chance of winning it just based on everything that's gone on this season. And you can make fun of Mourinho all you want. He's gotten some teams out of bad situations and won stuff, and I feel like
he's a serial trophy winner.
Yeah. If you don't want to, go ahead.
And people call me an idiot, blah blah blah. When they fired Emery, I was saying go for Mourinho. I don't care if it pisses off Arsene. I don't care about the passive Arsenal. He would come in, and I thought he would have at least organized us defensively. And if you would have given him another year, I don't think we'd be where Tottenham is now, but we'd easily be in fifth, a point or two out of top four.
Yeah, and he got them to 6 last year after at one point being in like 10th or 12th. I thought that was pretty impressive. He's won He won with Porto. He won with Inter. He won with Real Madrid. He broke the La Liga point record against the greatest in the league with the greatest team we've ever seen. So his resume, it speaks for himself. If you don't want to put him in the like GOAT conversation, that's fine. But he is one of the greatest managers to ever do this, and he's turning heads over there. And it's just a bad situation. I mean, for Arsenal, and Spurs are on the polar opposite of this right now.
Yep. And good for them, honestly. I mean, what can I say other than good for them?
Yeah.
They know what they're doing over there. I mean, people give crap to Daniel Levy all the time. Daniel Levy at least gives a crap about the club. I know he doesn't spend as much as they might like, but, I mean,
he goes to the games.
He goes to games, and you made a Champions League final.
Yeah.
and you're currently top of the league, and you're competing for things. Now, obviously, Tottenham fans want to get the silverware, but you can't really complain with your history, how bad of your history Tottenham's had.
Yeah.
This is probably, outside of 1960-61, this is probably the greatest stretch in Tottenham Hotspur history. So think about that.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Maybe you can argue like the 1991 FA Cup win with Gaza and all them, but I mean, no,
Yeah.
it's a train wreck, and I don't know how to fix it. I'm not going to blame Aubameyang though. He has no service, zero, zilch. What are you going to expect? I mean, crap. I mean, you could probably put Josie Altidore out there, and he'd probably have a goal. You know, with how bad this. I'm not joking about that. It'd be the same thing. You know, I mean, it just. Tell you what, if there's ever a time to find your scoring form, though, it's this weekend.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's a bad situation, but if they could win this weekend, which I think is practically no shot.
No, it's a 0% chance. If they win,
if they were even to get something, maybe it helps them with momentum a little, but I don't know how to fix this situation. And usually I have an answer to pretty much any problem that, as regards to what I would do in this situation. And with this situation, I don't know if I'd want to do it. First of all, it just seems like I don't know. It just seems like this is going to be. I'm speechless. I don't know what you would do with the Arsenal situation.
Tell you what, me being a USA Men's National Team fan, if they win this weekend, I'll put it up. I'll wear a Mexico shirt around for a whole day.
If Arsenal beat Spurs.
Yeah, I'd wear a Mexico shirt around for a whole day, being a diehard U.S. Men's National Team fan. I don't care. That's how confident I am they're not going to do it. I'll never wear a Spurs shirt. Refuse. Just because of the history of that club and everything. But if Arsenal wins, I'll wear a Mexico shirt. No problem.
Yeah.
I'll be more than happy to do it. That's how sure I am they're not going to win.
Fair enough.
Yep. Herbert Chapman's rolling over in his grave right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, on a better note, Roma. I know you lost this weekend, but it's been a good run of form, and surely you must be pleased.
No, I am. Look, last night was the Diego Maradona game. I feel like they could put any team over, then they would have got rolled over. And again, Mkhitaryan's goal. Was onside. They called it off. If Roma go and score that, maybe it's a different. I think Napoli would have won regardless. It was a bad performance last night, but there was a bunch of circumstances that sort of favored Napoli, and I get it because Maradona had just passed away, and they wanted to give Napoli that moment. So I have no ill will against that game. I just thought that the storyline of the game was that now all of a sudden now Roma are a good team because they lost like that, and two of those goals happened in the last 10 minutes. So it wasn't yesterday was bad, but before that, it's 21 games unbeaten. I mean, the Verona game, we didn't get the point that we deserved, but we're not counting it as a loss because they did lose on the pitch. We've had, and that was basically the only game they hadn't played well other than Napoli. They played against Juventus. They were great against Juventus. Probably could have beat Juventus. They were great against AC Milan in that crazy draw. And then you look at all the other teams. They basically dealt with anyone who's coming their way. Even ugly games like the Udinese game where it took a Pedro masterstroke to really a 1-0 game that ended. But I think Roma are doing really good, and I think this is a Champions League team. And it was a bad display yesterday, but you know what? As far as this season, they've been excellent. And this might be one of the funnest Roma teams I've had that I've enjoyed watching since probably the early 2000s or maybe even the title team. But it's not like this team doesn't have weaknesses, but when everyone's healthy and going, and we have those sort of things. And again, yesterday there was 2 players that got injured at halftime, so it's hard to overcome stuff like that. But when this team is rolling, they're hard to beat. And as a Roma fan, I've always been this sort of when we concede first, that I panic that we need to now score 2 goals to win the game, and I'm worried that we're not going to be able to do that. With this Roma team, when someone else scores first, I'm not worried. I have full faith that we're going to find a way to get back into the game because a couple times this year we conceded first and end up scoring like 2 or 3. So Yeah, it's really, this is the best situation that I think we possibly could have came in. We get that big sailor we were looking for, the old owner. We weren't a big fan of him. We got two people who are actually invested in it every game, home and away. They're up there in the Olympico or wherever we're at, watching the games. 6 feet difference with their masks on, but they're watching the game, and I think that the new ownership has kind of turned the tide with what Roma are this season, and I think this is almost a shoo-in as a Champions League team. We'll see how they rebound after that performance, but I really believe that this Roma team is something special. Will they win the league? Probably not, but I think they can get in the title race, just depending on how everyone else is playing. But I've been very, very pleased about everything, other than obviously the opening game and then last night's performance. But I think that was more down to how the Napoli just had an emotional energy about them, and yesterday they just weren't going to be denied.
And you look at the difference between my club and your club. I can name about actually 10 players probably that aren't good enough to be wearing the Arsenal shirt. You only have one player, and I think that's probably Mancini, and that's it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, great for you, man. I mean, I'm really happy. I'll be a surrogate Roma fan for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You don't care, so I can watch some good football at least.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
if you just look, I just want to add to that just real quick. If you just look at the defensive options, we play a back three. We have Mancini, who's been excellent. Ibanez is probably the best center back in the league this year. Then we have Chris Smalling and Max Kambula as other options. Our midfield's great. Our attack is great. Eventually, we're going to need someone to. We're going to have to spend big eventually and get.
Did I say Mancini's not good enough for your club?
Yeah,
that's my fault. Who's the defender I'm thinking of?
Cristante?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because I don't want to make it look like you didn't know what you're talking about. Cristante's not good enough for the club. I'll take him for now just because we don't have anything. I just phrased it that way just so I could clarify the whole thing. Eventually we're gonna have to get someone who can replace Dzeko. That's going to happen eventually, but that's like the only thing. And if we could get like El Shaarawy in January or something like that, I think that just takes us another level. And we're actually in a position now where we can have a whole new team in the Europa League and a team for the league. And we've never had that depth before. And then Pedro, I mean, Mkhitaryan's been great, and everyone's talking about Mkhitaryan, rightfully so. But Pedro is 33 years old, joined for free, and has been like the polar opposite of Willian and coming in there and just balling. At 33 years old, and has started pretty much every game, and outside of one or two games, he's been really good. So I think we got the right manager. I think the pieces are going to line up. We just need that one big sign to take us above the edge. But I'm very happy. I can't believe that we're playing this well, because last year it seemed out of the three of us, I had the worst team. And but anyway, yeah, it's been surprising, but in a good way.
All right, I'm going to roll a lot of people's heads listening to this, especially Liverpool fans. The biggest club in Europe, probably in the history of world football, is finally back where they actually belong. More than 10 games through a season. AC Milan, top of the league.
Yep.
Are you surprised at all?
Yes, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I'll be honest. I'm shocked. I'm not surprised they're in a European place, but I'm surprised they've been this good. Remember, they've only dropped 1 point, and that was to us. Outside of that, they've picked up everything. And I wanted to see this team tick a little bit more, and they just won this weekend against Fiorentina without Zlatan. They might be. I don't know if they'll win it, just because it's so unnatural for an AC Milan team to be in title race. But if they continue to play this, they very well could win it. I think at this point, they'll either win it or be a team that's pushing whoever's in front. But Napoli have been AC Milan have been superb. Zlatan is so important to them. I don't think they can win a lot of games without him, but if they can win just a couple, that gives them such a emotional boost, just because of they're so reliant on him usually. But they won a game this weekend, if they could win a few more where he doesn't have to play every game because he is 39 years old, I really think they can do something really special this season.
All right. So I want to get out of European football and talk about the most egregious thing I've seen this week. Sarah Fuller got SEC Special Teams Player of the Week. And look, I'm sorry, it's a cool story, but you can't tell me that Alabama's kicker doesn't get SEC's player. She kicked off the ball and kicked it off 35 yards on a squib kick. That's great. It was historic. Her team got absolutely blown out by Mizzou.
Yeah.
They're
Their
0-10.
coach got fired the day.
Their coach got fired for being incompetent and winless. I mean, my God. I mean, it's not the fact that she played, because I'm like, good for her. I know the situation. They had nobody on special teams, and they don't have a men's soccer team there, so she is obviously the best choice to go.
Yeah.
Playing goalie. We all know footballers have a great foot on them.
Yeah.
She is obviously the good choice. But Special Teams Player of the Week for her squib kick. Could you please elaborate?
She touched the ball one time, and they gave her an award.
Yep.
I mean, look, I don't think she's doing it for a publicity stunt. She probably wanted to do it, right? But to award her or crown her as something like she's the greatest thing that's ever happened is just stupid. She kicked the ball one time. I saw the video. It was a great moment. Was that intending to be a squib kick, or is that just how that went? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, it was intended to be a squib kick.
Okay, then,
yeah.
I mean, as far as a squib kick goes, good for her. Literally, that's
decent.
all. What's that?
It was a decent squib kick.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
She did exactly what she was supposed to.
Right, and that's great, and I'm happy for it, and I wish her the best, and I want to make that clear. We're not cheering for her to fail or anything like that. But the thing with that situation is, you can't. She literally touched the ball once. I don't think she had another moment in that game. The punter the Vanderbilt punter is more worthy of that, because he had to kick the ball or punt it, I think four or five different times in a game, or 6 times, whatever it was. And she literally got it just because she touched the ball. And it's a great historical moment. But you can't tell me that she was the best special teams player in college football last week. It's just not accurate. And if we're going to do this, and this is the thing, we cannot judge her any differently than you would anybody else. So if she has a great game, I'm going to give her props. If she has a horrible game, I'm going to crush her, because you can't change the way we view players just because this was a historical moment. Good for her, but look, this just doesn't make any sense. The moment was great, but you cannot tell me that she had the best performance from a special teams player in all of college football. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and being a Mizzou fan, it was a cool moment to see,
Yeah, it was
playing
awesome.
against my team especially. That was awesome, not saying that. But my other problem is, after the game, Roundtree, our running back, set the all-time rushing record for Mizzou. He doesn't get an interview. Why does she get an interview for touching the ball once? This is what I don't get. You're giving her all these props. They lost 41-0. 41-0.
Yeah.
I get it's historic. They got smashed. And they got smashed by a very average Mizzou team. And I get Elijah Drinkwitz, by the way, young coach for Appalachian State, coming and doing a great job rebuilding. They got smashed by a rebuilding team. Goosed. 0-0.
Not a point.
No points. I mean, I can even understand she gets an interview. Let's say they drive down and she kicks a field goal to keep from getting goosed. Okay, that's reasonable. She touched the ball once.
Yeah.
If she made 2 field goal kicks and they got 6 points.
Oh my God, that'd be incredible.
And I know the offense has everything to do with it. They couldn't move the ball. Mizzou crushed them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a special teams player of the week in the Southeastern Conference, the Iron Bowl happened this week. You're telling me that Alabama's kicker couldn't even get that?
I mean, he had a couple in that game. He at least kicked a field goal or kicked an extra point or whatever. But yeah,
Oh my goodness.
I just think
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
it's a. You know what? If I was any player in the SEC that played special teams, I'd be pissed.
I would too.
I mean, she literally trained for I think she practiced 2 days. You're in there busting your ass for like 24 hours probably a week, training for these massive games, making
Yeah.
these universities money, and you play your ass off and she gets it. Ugh. I mean, good for her. Historic moment. Player of the week, complete BS
Yeah.
for the
Agreed.
Southeastern Conference. Alabama, though, no
Yeah.
surprise.
They
Steve
crushed.
Sarkisian, we don't rate him, obviously.
No.
Did atrocious at USC. It was funny to watch how bad it was. And they spanked Auburn, though.
Yeah, they did.
National champions.
Oh.
Or do you? I got to ask this too.
Yeah.
Notre Dame played a much better opponent in North Carolina, and Auburn fans can be mad all they want. I think North Carolina is far superior than Auburn, and Notre Dame.
North Carolina has a quarterback that'll go in the first round of next year's draft. He'll probably be the number, not, I don't know, depends on who gets number one, but next season he will be the first quarterback off the board, the kid that goes to North Carolina. So it's not like they played a team with no pro players or something like that.
Yeah, and they won, and they looked impressive. So it's really got to be down to those two, wouldn't you say?
I don't know. At this point, probably I would favor Notre Dame a little bit because I just think they're more of a complete team. But again, they have a habit of getting crushed in the playoff. So I don't know. I think it's between those two. I don't know. Maybe if Trevor gets back for Clemson, they start rolling. They could potentially.
Well, he did, and he played well against Pitt. But I mean,
yeah. But I mean, if he really starts rolling, then maybe Ohio State has Justin Fields. Obviously, they might have something to do with it. But I think it's really between.
Yeah, but they.
Go ahead.
You can't put Ohio State in the playoff, though. They're probably only going to play 4 games.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem.
And you can't tell me that a team like BYU or Cincinnati doesn't deserve to go in ahead of them. I mean, they'll both play at least 11 games, you know?
Right, exactly.
I mean,
to be honest, it'll probably be Alabama. I just feel like it's inevitable, especially with everything else that's going on. But Notre Dame will have a shot at potentially winning it too.
Yep. Clemson definitely has the best coach in college football, though. So.
Yeah.
And the best quarterback.
Yeah.
So you can't count them out.
That's what I'm saying. If he gets it rolling, then you never know what will happen. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is just a different level, but do they really have the best team? I'm not sure. But again, because they have the quarterback and the coach, they have a shot just because of those two things.
Do Florida with Kyle Trask have a chance of beating Alabama in the SEC title game?
No. I like Kyle Trask. I think he's not a franchise changer, but someone who could be serviceable in the NFL. A Case Keenum, a Carson Palmer, something like that. But individually, he's having a phenomenal season. I don't see a way where even if he has a great game, he's not beating Alabama. I don't think so. I think it might be close, but in the end, Alabama they have a much better team than Florida. So I don't think Kyle Trask can really individually by himself beat that team, even though if he puts up the numbers, and I'm sure he will, that can still happen, but they're not beating Alabama, no.
All right. So also going on college football, if you had season end today, who would be in your playoff?
Whew, shit, that's a hard one.
See, I'll go. For me, it'd be Notre Dame, the 1 seed. Honestly, Alabama, the 2. Probably, honestly, because I think Clemson will the ACC title game. I'd say Clemson 3 and Cincinnati 4.
I'll probably go with that as well. I mean, is there another alternative to those four? Like, who else could you put in there?
And that's the problem this year. I mean, you could argue BYU, but they haven't played anybody. But at the same time, if they go unbeaten, you know, especially with this weird year, I don't. And if you look at like the point spreads, like what like Vegas is favoring,
Yeah.
like when like UCF went undefeated, like they were predicted to get smashed by like 20, 30 points. Cincinnati and BYU are dogs most of those games, but even against like a Florida, let's say Florida beats Alabama, Cincinnati would be favored in that game.
Right.
So I don't know.
It's hard. I mean, they're 8-0. I mean, they have enough good teams in that conference. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, Ohio State has only played 4 games. Cincinnati is 8-0. Yeah, you really can't go anywhere else with it because I guess A&M is 5-1. Ohio State's only played 4 games. Clemson's obviously going to be in it. Alabama, Notre Dame will all be in it. Yeah, it probably will be Cincinnati. It should be Cincinnati. I have a feeling they're going to pick Ohio State anyways. Yeah, I just don't see it in any other way. Those 4 seem to be the obvious choices.
All right, before we end, who's your hero of the week this week? I'll go first. My hero of the week is every single Arsenal fan in St. Louis. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to all the people that go to the bars and watch. Stan Kroenke screwed us over twice. You're probably the few people in America that root for Arsenal that have an amazing amount of respect for. Put that in a clip, by the way, to say that Arsenal fans in St. Louis are the best, bar none. It's not even close. Maybe we're probably the best fans outside of England because of what this man's done to our city.
Yeah.
And my donkey of the week is Kroenke. Ugh, it's awful.
Oh, geez, who would be my hero of the week? Geez, I mean, just because he passed, I'm going to say Diego Maradona, just because of how everyone came together when he died, and such a he whatever with the England thing he cheated, whatever, but we all would have done it. I mean, I think most people would have, if they had a chance to do something to put themselves in a position, they would do it. But he was majestic. He was a pioneer of football, one of the greatest players we'll ever see. And I think he deserves to be respected, not only in Naples, but around the whole world. Then the donkey of the week is the woman who decided to refuse to tribute Diego Maradona and sat down when everyone was paying respects. And then her team went on to lose 10-0. So karma was served.
That being said, before we go, cheers, Diego. You finally got God's hand. No, in all seriousness, before we go, I do have to say something. Look, without him, you may not have Lionel Messi. Don't ever take that for granted. Without him, who knows what football is. The man absolutely revolutionized the game. He brought Napoli 5 trophies. Put him on the map. No disrespect, he's probably, I mean, there used to be like an argument between like him and Pele. I don't even think that's like an argument.
I think what's important here, just out of respect, people shouldn't change their all-time ranking of him based on his death. And I think that's actually something it seems like everyone seems to be all of a sudden changing their mind about that. And I think to be respectful towards him, you have to be honest about these sort of things. And he's an all-time great. He's in my very, very top. But I don't think people should change their all-time ranking just because he passed away. And I think that's what people do far too much.
For sure. I think it sucks, man. Rest in peace, Diego.
Yeah, Kobe, then Diego. I mean, it's been a rough year for everyone.
My God. Yep. Rest in peace to one of the true giants of the game. See everybody next week.